Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry that it has been over a month since my last video. I really thought that in the summer I would have a lot more time. I would be able to film more regularly. So if you didn't realise, I'm in a different place. I'm in my house in Lancaster. Also my braces got taken off at the start of September. So I have been obviously moving into this house, and I worked at 2 open days. I've been between here and London and Edinburgh, all over the place. So I have been quite busy, but I mean it's not really an excuse. I've also been working on a lot of society stuff for Freshers Fair, which is next week. It's only a week away now. And I don't know, time has just absolutely slipped away from me. I'm really sorry that I haven't uploaded, but I check my comments all the time, I check my social medias all the time. So I'm going to do a little plug before I get into the video. Obviously if you have questions, I know that move-in weekend is this weekend, because I'm actually working at move-in weekend, so I'm going to be helping mostly international students who come from the airport shuttles or the train station shuttles. I don't know my exact role yet, but I'll either be at the train station or most likely on campus. Both days of moving weekend, but if you're coming on those services or if you're just moving in a different way and you see me, do come over and say hello. I'm here to welcome people to the university. And obviously nobody came up to me at the open day. I don't think that made me obviously didn't say anything, but that was a really fun experience as well. Yeah, so feel free to say hello. But yeah, I know if people come to Lancaster, you're probably feeling quite nervous right now. Some of you will be in your freshers week and some of you will be in your first week of lectures and stuff, so you already would have passed freshers week. But to kind of encompass all that, I'm going to talk about my freshers experience, particularly for those who are interested and are coming to Lancaster. I'm also going to talk about what I did Freshers Week sober, for those of you who don't drink, are in Freshers Week now, and how to make the most of Freshers Week in your first week or two at university. So hopefully there's something there for everyone, regardless of who you are. But like I said, follow me on Instagram, and you can message me on there, Twitter as well. I don't post a lot on any of these platforms, and I don't post a lot about YouTube as well. My Twitter is literally just things I find funny, and then I tweet when I have new videos. So don't think that I'm gonna be spamming you with loads of YouTube content, because I'm not a YouTuber. I am just a person, a student. So yeah, feel free. And I have a Facebook page as well if you prefer to use Facebook, and I just let you know every time I've uploaded a video. Again, I don't post anything spammy on there or anything like that. Talking about Facebook, actually, there's a website called auxiliar, and it's basically like Google, except every time you make a search, you help to plant trees, and they do this by using ad revenue, which Google and Bing also make, except that they use their profits to plant trees. And if you are coming to Lancaster University, I've posted about on some freshers pages, but it's pretty cool because they can now track how much the university plants. You can, when you download the coach, you can see how many you plant, provided that you don't delete your history or anything. But also now we can track how many trees as a university in total that we have planted, and that's pretty cool. And I'll leave the Ecosia Lancaster page, but if you don't go to Lancaster to sign up to regular Ecosia, or your uni might have its own one. Okay, let's talk about Freshers Week. So before I went to university, literally a few days before, I just completed cognitive behavioural therapy. I don't really want to get into this too much, so you can research it on your own, and I was basically doing that so I would be able to go to university, because I was really considering taking a gap year, not going for various reasons, and one of the things I was really nervous about was the fact that was the drinking culture. Now obviously I knew people who drank, but I didn't really. I'd been to pubs a few times. I had one not great experience where I went to a bar, I didn't even get to the bar, and just things like that which I found difficult. And I knew that a lot of people don't drink, and I could just be oh, I don't drink, but I was finding at that stage in my life everything really difficult. So it was like I wanted to push myself, but even things like going to the talks and finding my own campus and meeting new people was something that like filled me with a lot of dread. And it's like completely fine if you feel like that, and I feel like there's this sort of pressure that, oh, in Freshers Week you do everything, meet loads of people, and like I would still say that, do it, but it's so hard, and it's not like, oh, you have Freshers Week and then after that you can't meet anyone, because it's just not true. Like, you're not going to become close to anyone in Freshers Week. Sure, you can meet someone, but I met so many people in Freshers Week that I just never spoke to again, because I never had a chance to, and it's just not that important. It's not as important, I think, as people make out. And I think what is important is for you to feel comfortable and to settle in, because if you hate your first week at university, your first 2 weeks, that's more likely to lead you to have a miserable time for the rest of the time and drop out, etc. So I think settling in and feeling comfortable should be your priority. And for some people that will involve drinking and going out and doing stuff that will help them to feel settled in, but for some people like me, that was going to be pushing myself a lot, and I just thought I'll just take every day as it comes. And I think that's the best piece of advice. So don't think, oh, I'm not going to go to this event before you even got there. See how you feel an hour before. No one's going to be like, what, you changed your mind, like whatever. At Lancaster we have freshers reps. I thought they had these at all unis, but they actually don't. And our freshers reps are really great. I say reps because the 2 floors are 2 reps in each other, so like the 2 floors merged quite a bit. But on the first day there was it wasn't clubbing because it was on a bar in campus, but they kind of kitted the bar out like a club. I feel like it worked very much like a club works, and there was loads of people dancing, and like my flat didn't it was evident to me straight away that my flat wasn't a flat of drinkers in any way. Like, I feel like we cooked a meal. I don't even remember what we did, because it's like kind of confusing the days, but we came in the kitchen. One guy in my flat had preed somewhere else, so he was drinking, and then the reps were drinking, and like hardly anyone else was drinking. Like, I can't even remember, but it was very like tame and not a lot of people were drinking. And we did the usual stuff like card games and Cards Against Humanity and things like that, which I would say definitely get involved with those things in your flat, because you'll be close to your room, you can leave at any point, like it's completely fine, but it's really good to get to know your flat, and it's to spend time with your flat, and you don't have to, if they go out, you don't have to go out with them, like, but I feel like that is a really, really important thing to do. And also, don't, like, if you know someone else at the uni, don't spend time with them, like spend time with your flat. And do you know what I mean? Because I feel like that one guy who went and to a different flat on the first day, I feel like it immediately set this like line that he has other friends and he will drink with he will do stuff with other people, and I don't know, like I feel like that immediately like put a wedge. And I think Freshers Week really just try with your flat, and it's the one time where you're all gonna be sort of free at the same time, because once your timetable starts, you're all gonna have different timetables, and it's quite hard to meet people in your course like straight away. So I would say just like, you know, do that. So if you do know other people, or like don't invite your friends to come. I just feel like it's really weird, I don't know, but I feel like it puts it a wedge, and it's not like you want to be comfortable around these people and stuff like as soon as possible. Then we went to this bar, to the college bar, and I walked in and the floor was really sticky, and it was like not even that late at night, it was around 10 o'clock honestly, and there were loads of people and they were really drunk, and I saw this guy being held up by one of his friends, like he looked like he was going to collapse, and I had never been around that before, and I think I was there for like 10 minutes and my feet were sticking to the floor, and I was like, I think I'm going to leave, like I'm not drinking, like because most of my flat was sober, like we were too awkward to like really dance and get involved, and we just sort of, like I was just like, I'm going to go back, and it wasn't far from obviously my accommodation or anything, and another one of my flatmates came back with me as well. But the next day we had a different event also in the bar, and it was like, it was called Pendle Live, and it was a music event, and I like instead of thinking, oh, I went to that and I didn't like it, I'm not going to go to any of the events, I decided that I was gonna go, and like I'm so glad that I went, and I felt really proud of myself for going, because it was like, again, a lot of drunk people. I don't know what it is about freshers, but they just drink so much so early, and I just feel like, can you even remember any of freshers week? Like, it's just weird. But and a lot of people obviously will be the first time they really do these things, because they're away from home, away from family, and things like that. And also people probably aren't eating properly, aren't sleeping properly. It's no surprise that people get really ill. But yeah, but like, basically what my point is, like, just because you have one bad experience, if it's a completely different thing, have a try. We went to the castle and really enjoyed that. It was good to like go into town. It's quite scary getting the bus, but that was really fun. I can't remember going to a lot of the other events. We went to like a games night. That was quite good. There was quite a few people there. I don't know what there's like alternative events, so they have like usually a clubbing event and then a non-clubbing event. Obviously people also have flat parties and things like that. Yeah, I don't really remember. But the thing is, it's not like after Freshers Week all of that stuff stops, because it really doesn't. Like, the parties continue, the clubbing continues. So if you're finding it a bit much, it's fine to just say no. There'll be so many times you can go out. Like, I didn't like go to that many of those kind of events in Freshers Week, but then I went to Extravs, which was like a big clubbing event at the end of the year, and if you asked me in September or October if I was going to go, I would have been like, no. But it's just like you become more comfortable, and also you don't know anyone. It's like, if you're, and so like, because my flat weren't going, who was I going to go with really? I didn't know anyone else like well enough to feel comfortable going with them. And like, it's fine, like, don't feel bad for not going to stuff, but just take each event like, how do I feel at this moment? Do I want to go to it? And that's good. And you can also do a lot of alternative things, like in your flat. You can watch films with your flats, you can do flat drinking, you can go into town with your flat at non-scheduled things. Like, you have a lot of time and you can do a lot of fun things. Like, we went to Sainsbury's, figured out how to do the washing, and all those things. And like, that is what Freshers Week is for. And you have to do a lot of like things like enrolling on your courses, picking your minor, all of these things, which you'll have to do in Freshers Week. And don't worry about them before, just worry about them when you get there and it'll be fine. And yeah. But the one thing I learned is that it's completely okay to go to events that are, you know, around drinking sober. I always felt like, oh, I couldn't go clubbing, or I couldn't go to prees or something like that if I was sober. Like, I would stand out, it would be weird. But that's just not true. So if you don't want to drink, you can still easily get involved with that side, and it is nice, especially things like prees and stuff like that. It's a good way to meet people. Tend to be quite fun. People aren't usually that drunk yet. If you're uncomfortable around drunk people like I am, they're not going to probably be that drunk yet. And also, it's most likely going to be near you, not in town or anything, so you can leave at any stage, and people will leave around 11, 12 anyway, so it won't be that late. There's a lot of benefits to just going to prees, and people like will watch films and do drinking games and stuff like that, and those can be really fun even if you're not drinking. There's a weird bug outside. Yeah, so I'd recommend going to them. And if you do want to go clubbing, maybe you've never been before, maybe you don't drink for whatever reason, you can just go. I personally wouldn't go in Freshers Week, just because I feel like people are a bit more insane and drink a bit too much and are a lot more stressed, so I probably wouldn't go then. And also, nobody knows each other, but like, maybe in a month's time you might want to try going out with your flat. For example, my flatmate, she didn't drink and she would go out clubbing, and that was one of the reasons I was like, oh, people actually do that, because a lot of people who drink will tell you that going clubbing sober would be the worst thing ever, or but it's actually not true, so don't listen to that. Because like, when I went to Extravs, I had a great time. I could remember everything. Like, everyone else is like, most people will be drunk around you, so they won't take any notice of you. The only thing that is annoying is people will like push you a bit and like walk into you, which I feel like, why do people do that? Anyways, but like don't think that it will be miserable just because you're sober, or that you have to drink to have a good time. And a lot of people, by the time they get to the club, will have sobered up anyway, or will not be very drunk, or maybe they weren't at all, and then not buy any drinks or only a couple drinks, because obviously it's more expensive to buy them out. But like, be honest if you don't know a lot about clubbing culture. I'm sure people won't be judgmental. Like, I obviously was never a part of it before I went to uni, so I would just be honest about it and be like, oh, I don't know how much is a lot of alcohol, or I don't know how much these things should cost, stuff like that. Like, it's fine, don't be embarrassed, and there will be a lot of people who will be on the same page as you and stuff like that. But I think it's good to have a good mix of friends, of people who do stuff like that and people who don't, so you really have a good choice. If you just are friends with people who always go out drinking, you might feel left out if you don't want to partake in that. But also, if you have people who never ever do that stuff, you might, if you do feel like going, not ever have the opportunity. Because in my flat they never went out, and I was like, oh cool, I don't have to worry about it. But then it was like, well, what, like after a few weeks I was like, I want to push myself, I want to go, I want to try these things, but it's kind of difficult because I had no one pushing me to do it, do you know what I mean? So it's not bad either way, but I feel like it's good to have like a good mix of friends. Just sort of like been rambling about like Freshers Week and stuff like that. If you are coming to Freshers Fair, I will be there. I'll be at the People and Planet store, so make sure you come check us out. We do activism. We are student activists for the people and the planet. Quite self-explanatory. Things like Freshers Fair, like I'm sure you've heard all about it before, and a lot of these things, so I'm not going to go into detail about that. I guess sort of like talking about how you can get the most of your first few weeks at the uni. Go to all your lectures, go to all your seminars, do tasters for societies. That's a really good way to meet people as well. Go alone. There's nothing wrong with going to these things alone. I would say try and join a mix of societies, maybe do a sporty one and a non-sporty one. I didn't join one until January, and I'm so glad that I did, and it's a really good way to be involved. Or like do something like try and get on the JCR, be a student rep or something like that. Familiarise yourself with the campus. If you have a freshers rep, get them to give you a tour on campus. Get to know like the library and stuff, because it will happen that 4 weeks down the line you'll need to go to the library, but by this point everybody already knows how to use it, or knows how to use like the printers, and you'll feel a bit embarrassed. So like go and do these things in Freshers Week. Like get to know where the Sainsbury's is, or wherever your local shop is. It's a really fun time, it's a really weird time, and in my mind it was like it felt like a month, and it was just like a week. So I don't know where that went at all. And also like do stuff by yourself, because it's often you feel like, oh, I want to do what my flat's doing, or my flat want to do this, they want to go to this society thing, or they want to go to Sainsbury's on this day or whatever. But like do things by yourself, and do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? So if there's something you want to do and nobody's really up for it, don't just think, oh, I won't do it then. Like just go and do it. Like if you just want to go into town by yourself, go into town by yourself. Like it's fine. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's important to like go to all your lectures and your seminars, because once you stop going it's so hard to start going to them again. So really try and get into good habits, and it will help you in the long run. Like this year I'm determined not to miss anything, because I think around towards Christmas I started missing a couple things, and then like again, like it's as towards the end of the term it gets a lot harder. Try and stay really organised. Oh, this is one thing I'd recommend in first year. So I've done it for second year, but I wish I'd done it for first year. Oh. This is like all my modules and like the assessments, because it's really good to know what your assessments are going to be. You can see this all on Moodle for Lancaster and probably the equivalent at other unis. The percentages, how much it's worth. Obviously mine's different because it will actually count towards my degree, but I have like what I'm studying so this is first term. I've got this module which runs for 10 weeks, this module for 10 weeks, this for 5, then there's an exam, and this for 5, and then there's an exam, and then colour coded. So this one, biochemistry, for example, it's called Bio 201. It requires 115, so that lets me know what it will be going on from last year. So last year it requires you to have done Bio 115, so that was protein biochemistry. So I'm like, okay, like this is going to be probably using a bit of that knowledge. It's 50% exam, 50% coursework, and the coursework is a workshop test, which is 6%, practical reports, which are 11% each, and I've written the module convener, and actually I'll link it below, but Alice does physics, that's her YouTube channel. She comes to Lancaster as well. She was showing her like notebooks for her physics notes, and she had the lecturer's email and their room and their name at the front, and that is something that I'm gonna put on my notes, which I'll type, because oh my god, it's so annoying to have to look up every single time you need to contact like the lecturer and stuff. They usually put it on their slides when they first start teaching, so like make a note of those kind of things and have that somewhere like clear for you to like see and stuff like that. So have a good idea, at least for the ones in first term, what it's going to be, and they'll probably run through it at the start of the lectures when you start, but like take notes of it, because I feel like that's really important, and sort of know how much your exams at the end of the year, because like they told us this and I forgot it all, and then I'd be like, how much is this worth, how much is this worth? And you can also see it in your interactive transcript, so like familiarise yourself with that in Moodle. Again, that's just for like Lancaster, I'm sure other unis have equivalents, but yes, that is important. Yeah, I think I've said everything that I have to say. I've just been blabbering on. Let me know what kind of videos you want. I was wondering, should I do more vlog style videos? Is that something that people are interested in? I know that's what a lot of other people do, like university YouTubers, but they don't do particularly well on my channel. My more sort of like update videos seem to do the best. So let me know what you think, if that's the kind of thing you'd like. Are you more interested in hearing about like the biology, biomed side, or Lancaster University? Because I feel like it's mostly Lancaster University, but that's just based on like comments and things. Yeah, so do let me know. Also, people want like a Q&A, because I get a lot of questions and then I can just answer lots of questions about Lancaster. I ask about this all the time and nobody ever says anything or asks anything for the Q&A, but yeah, I don't know, follow me on my socials. Okay, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next 2 weeks, hopefully. I was planning on doing a video on what it's like to have a job at Lancaster, because I've been doing like one-off jobs, and like how you apply and stuff like that. Is that something people are interested in? I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I hope that you have a good few weeks wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.